I'm Karyn Bryant for MMA Heat. I'm here in downtown Los Angeles with Michael Kalish. He is the brilliant artist behind this reALIze project, which is an incredible portrait of Muhammad Ali. Can you please explain what's going on here and sort of how you came up with this idea?
Yeah, so 3 years ago, I reached out to the Alis. They're collectors of mine, friends, and I had an honest conversation with her that there needed to be a monument to Muhammad Ali for what he meant to sport and what he means to politics and religion. He's in so many worlds, but something engaging, something really, really unique, and something using a real feedback. I love mixed media and taking something out of context, putting it in the form of art. Obviously nothing this monumental. It was 3 years ago, and here we are right now unveiling it. But I asked her, I was like, what do you think about something that engages a new generation of Ali fans? And the idea of having thousands of boxing bags somehow suspended in air, and then when you walk around, it's really abstract, but you get to a certain place, and they all line up to form a photorealistic face of Muhammad Ali. And she was like, oh, it's beautiful. How are you going to do it? And I was like, I have no clue, but it's really cool. And then, you know, so started this relationship, and we brought aboard an amazing architectural firm by the name of Oyler Collaborative, and started modeling it and spent months and months working on the design. It's very mathematical and very academic. And then started fabricating and working with the bags, and here we are, getting ready to unveil it.
Well, it's really spectacular. And exactly, how many bags are there? How much cable?
There's a lot of stats. So there's 1,300 bags, 3 different sizes, 2 different colors to create that contrast. 5 miles of stainless steel cable. They're all suspended from the top and the bottom, so there's very little movement in it. And so it always, you know, maintains that photorealistic element. There's miles of aluminum tubing, and grates. Thousands and thousands of screws, and it's by far the biggest monument that I've ever embarked on, and this kind of gets me in this direction of building these large-scale pieces. It's going to travel, so it's all modular. Comes together for about a week and a half, comes apart, then goes to another city, probably twice a year.
Nice. And were you always a Muhammad Ali fan? What was the impetus behind putting this together?
I'm a huge sports fan. I'm a big boxing fan. Of course, like growing up like in the Tyson era, and, you know, on the heels of Ali, but, you know, father who was a big Ali fan, went to fights. And now I'm like, you know, less boxing and more current form of MMA, everything. Although I'm a big Pacquiao fan, but I'm a huge fan of Ali and the person he was, and the fact that he's a legend, and there never will ever be another icon, especially in sport, at that level. I
think they still say he's one of the most recognizable athletes of all time.
He is it came out like a few months ago that he's the most recognizable athlete in the world. And that's the thing I like, the parallel between this piece and who Ali is. He's so multi-dimensional and even abstract from all these different angles, but when you get right in front of him, he's truly the greatest. Like this piece, which is a really unique piece that is very abstract, but only makes sense when you get right in front of it. So it's a really nice parallel of how dimensional he is, and with the bags, and then, you know, you position him. So, there's only one, in my mind, there's only one person you could drop into something that would take me 2.5 years to do, and that's something at this scale, and it's someone like an Ali, someone with a presence like that.
So prior to this, what medium were you working in, and how did you even come to know that you could pull this off?
I just came to know I could pull this off about 10 minutes ago. I kind of got known from taking license plates and taking them out of context and assembling these really large contemporary collectible pieces, Americana, and then I moved up the car and started repurposing old vintage tailgates and making roses and sculptures. I love that play of taking something completely out of context, putting it in a different form of contemporary art, and then just wanted to do it on a whole other level. And how do we capture Ali? When I spoke to them about making something monumental, it was because he's a monument. Sure. So it's like, he is Mount Rushmore. He is the Statue of Liberty. He is those things. So short of climbing up on top of a mountain and carving his face in there, which is what he's deserved, you know, he deserves something at this scale, but something engaging to a new generation.
I'm joined now by Dwayne Oyler and Jenny Wu, their architectural firm Oyler Wu, co-created this project with Michael Kalish, and I want to congratulate you first. It is definitely spectacular. How long was it in putting this project together?
Well, we started, Michael came to us basically 2 years ago at the end of the year with the idea, and then he knew he couldn't pull it off, so he came to us with, you know, this idea, but didn't really know how to do it. So we started about February of last year, and we designed it to about June of last year, and then we took about 5 months to build this.
What's been the most challenging element of putting this together?
Hard to narrow it down to one. There's been a lot. Probably two things. One, just the technicalities involved in creating the aluminum structure. Incredibly complex, hard work, hot sun, a lot of people. And the second is just making the face, both from a technical standpoint and the work involved in doing all of that.
Yeah, I think we did a lot of digital modeling in trying to figure out how this whole perspective worked. And we had to place 1,300 punching bags in digital space as well as in physical space, as you see here. And at the end of the day, even though we had it all perfect on the digital model, you don't really know in real life if it's all going to work out.
What kind of program do you use, and how labor intensive is it to design this even with the aid of a computer program?
Well, we worked back and forth with several programs, 2D and 3D. Maya and Rhino are a couple of popular programs that we've done some back and forth with. And it's incredibly time consuming because we say now, well, we had to place 1,300 bags. At the time we began, we had no idea how many bags it would take or what size those bags would need to be. So it was not only did we make the face once, we really made it several times. And the first time would be a couple of weeks of placing bags in space and then determining that, we need twice as many bags, or we need to spread the entire scheme out a little bit or compress it a little bit more. So we wound up making it 3 or 4 times, each of those taking a couple of weeks for one person very tediously to place a bag in space.
Are you fight fans? I mean, were you fans of Muhammad Ali before this?
This is an interesting question. We knew Muhammad Ali, obviously, and my dad especially really was interested in Muhammad Ali. Although we weren't huge fans, we just are not really part of that world. Although when the project came to us, in the mornings we would watch 15 minutes with the entire office of clips of Ali.
Yeah, and we would do that to introduce every day, just to get us into that spirit, and so that we can understand that the whole idea about the levity and how quick he was, and he was a really all-around character, and so we wanted this to have that spirit. So.
Yeah, I think what was especially interesting to the office was all of the fighting aside, just the sheer charisma everyone was absolutely drawn to. I mean, you can't watch 5 minutes of a clip of him and not feel like he's completely riveting.
Right.
I'm here now with the man of the hour, Michael Kalish. It's opening night. How you feeling?
It's so exciting. A couple of years in the making, and unveiling it to the public, it's the coolest part. I was with the reALIze a few days ago, and they were saying how excited they are and how much they were anticipating this, so it's a cool moment.
Has there been one sort of overriding thing that people have said to you in response to the piece?
That's a really good question. I love the idea that the fact that people really respond to all the abstract parts of this, that it makes sense from one place, but that it's just completely something different from all the other angles. And that was a really important factor in this, is having it that dynamic. As an artist and having architects involved, that was a really interesting element, not to just capture an iconic image, but to present it in a really unique way.
What I also like about this project is maybe it'll bring somebody who wasn't an art lover beforehand into this. It's a nice cross-section of art and sport.
Right. Now, the running joke was, I don't want my kids thinking George Foreman invented the grill. I've said that. You see 12 and 15-year-olds and kids who are younger, like my children, and you want to try, in some way, continue the legacy of someone like Muhammad Ali. The fact that I've been given the honor to create the largest monument to Muhammad Ali, I feel really proud of the fact that it's going to, bring a whole new generation of Ali followers in, just surely by what it's made of. What is that? It's boxing bat. It's what is it? And then, back to the question, who's Ali? Who's Muhammad Ali? And it's interesting. It's crazy how the younger generation, they don't know. You hear things. And so I think it brings a whole other demographic generation to the table to learn about someone as iconic as Ali. I'm Michael Kalish, and you're at reALIze, the Muhammad Ali Monument. And I'm on MMA H.E.A.T